There you go.
Okay, welcome all. I'm calling to order our special session to discuss County Health Officer recommendations. Happy that all of you can be present, both in person and virtually. Just to review here, we have 3 candidates available, Dr. Huggins, Dr. Turner, and Dr. McAdams. I think that if you were available to hear the interview from Dr. McAdams, that's awesome. And we have provided a summary of the interviews with Dr. Huggins and Dr. Turner previously to board members. So I open the floor for discussion now.
This is Sarah. I know we really would like someone local, and I think that that's great that Dr. McAdams is demonstrating a willingness to participate. I just have a little concern about his newness and, what position we would be putting our health department in our county. I understand with Dr. Turner, we, might be looking at a short-term appointment, but I think that would give Dr. McAdams a little more time to get his feet wet and then also, maybe be more involved with the local health department to have a better understanding of what it's doing, and be in a better position to take that leadership. That's just my concern. I just want to make sure we're putting our department in a good position and position where they're supported with some knowledge and also leadership skills and abilities.
Sure, yeah.
Dr. Turner and Dr. McAdams, I mean, they're both new, so do you feel the same way about Dr. Turner?
But Dr. Turner's been in practice for some time, is my understanding. So I think that he, has a little bit more experience, more robust medical history knowledge, things like that. And I think, he was in, if I understand correctly, in the service as well in a medical capacity. So has a very diverse background that would have given him some leadership abilities and things like that. So I would feel more comfortable with that nomination. But again, I just want to make sure that our health department feels supported and that they have someone who can go to bat for them when needed.
So I agree that Dr. Turner probably has an advantage from an administrative standpoint. I do think we all had some concerns about him, A, not being local, and B, not being able or willing to be more engaged with our community partners. And so I think that's what we have to discuss and, maybe find a balance when we make our decision. I do think, frankly, the internal medicine is probably more, and primary care in general is probably better adapted to the health officer role than orthopedics. But again, I don't know what the military, the practice of medicine in the military, if it is significantly different than it is in civilian life, and if he would, how that plays out. So I don't know if anyone else has experience in that to know, if in the military, do they get more public health training? Do they, is there some advantage training wise? Because other than that, I don't think orthopedics is particularly well.
Do you have any thoughts, Dr. Wilson, about that?
Yeah.
I guess my main question would be, was he orthopedics in the military or did he serve as a general medical officer? The general medical officer is more of the primary care thing. I guess what I gathered was that he was more orthopedics in the military, and so I don't know that the military part of it's going to offer that much advantage from a medical or primary care standpoint, but it definitely would offer a bit of an advantage from an administrative standpoint, from a leadership standpoint.
And that's what you're referencing, right, Sarah?
He was an orthopedic.
Yes, sir. I think just, I think that the health officer really is kind of that person that's our advocate, whether it's the commissioners or any other, county agency that they're interacting with, if it's related to septic and sewage, whether it's, those types of things, or even at the state level. And so just not having some leadership experience is a little concerning, and he's very green in practice. So just things to be mindful of setting ourselves up for success. And I think he has an interest in the community, and I think he's, local, and I think those are all very positive things, and I don't want to take anything away from that. I think I've seen in healthcare that we take people who are good at what they do and we put them in leadership positions and we watch them fail. So what mechanism would we, if we made that choice as a board, put in place to ensure success, I guess would be our onus that we would have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's very well stated, and I think the dilemma, the decision is exactly as you guys have laid it out, which is Dr. Turner has had additional training and has had some general practice as in the military, which is going to be of little help other than exactly what you said: age, experience, leadership. But I do not see those situations where being engaged, maintaining the partnerships, and those things. He's going to be excellent at leadership, and he'll be available and a wonderful resource for our staff. And then on the other end, then you have a new physician, more embedded in the actual local community rather than just historical, and with a more primary care, with the primary care background, and we're unaware of his leadership ability. So I think you've laid it out well.
Yeah.
I could say, and I hope Dr. Woods won't mind me speaking for her, but she felt that primary care connection, that just his specialty area was more suited to the health department, and I think that she was just impressed by what she read both in his CV and his the little blurb that's on the Parkview Health website. So, she also reminded me, and this would apply to both of our applicants, that she didn't know what she was doing when she started either, that she was coming in completely green. And while I think her leadership was obviously outstanding, it wasn't respected by those outside of the department. And so I do think that we need to, I don't know, I don't have an answer right now. I really, again, would like to lean on the two MDs in this room to really, what do you think the more important thing is? Community engagement or leadership potential?
I think one
You
of
know,
the
I can
things we need to
say,
look at is the job description. Like, what does the job description lay out?
yeah. I mean, I was health officer in Wells County not long after finishing residency, and a lot of it is reliance on the staff and getting up to speed with some of the state level things. But if you are willing to do so, if you are engaged in it, if you have some, basic levels of interpersonal skills, leadership abilities, it's something that you can build rather quickly. Um, and the engagement in the community, the being local, um, the more primary care focus may be a benefit.
I guess a question, just what you all made of the comment when I asked him about the substance use and fatality, knowing how that's plagued our community. You knew I was going there, right, Dr. Bragg? His response was, is it a huge passion of mine? No. So I appreciate his honesty. I was thinking of, settings that would be shared in. We are a community plagued by those two things, even with improved data, right? As we look at our ED data and, this is a significant problem for our community. So I was wondering when he had said, is it a huge passion of mine? I didn't know, was that the particular community? Was that, addressing issues like alcohol, substance use, depression, suicide?
Is it just a lack of knowledge to the extent of the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He'll get that
I must
quickly
have
in primary
misunderstood
care.
because I thought he said it was a huge passion.
What I wrote down was, is it a huge passion of mine? No. And then he just said, I'm going to be honest with you about that.
Okay.
But he was
Okay.
willing. Was that your...
That was my impression.
That's what you heard too. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was I loved his answer on conflict resolution. I thought there was a maturity to that. That was the one thing that I just, didn't quite sit well in my soul, knowing the issue we have with that in our community.
Yeah.
Trying to think back the decades when I was in his spot, I would not have, with the training, I would not have known how to answer that question. I would have, so
Fair enough.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. He's, as a primary care doc, it's going to hit him in the face, and whether it's here or anywhere, but it's going to hit him in the face here. And so it will become something that he's more knowledgeable about for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and whatever exposure he gets here may make him a better physician
Absolutely.
in our community.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, that was not a question that we presented to either of the other candidates. So, so we have nothing to compare to there. So,
And I'm not saying that's a rule out by any means.
Sure.
And part of it, I just felt like, okay, maybe he and I could talk a bit, if
Yeah.
came
Well-
just about day-to-day,
yeah.
day-to-day life in primary care in Grant County
Sure.
and in our health,
Well-
on the health board and in those meetings. It just, again, I think that is something that has to be adopted by a person in this role with
Sure.
it doesn't have to be a natural passion, but just a knowledge and a willingness.
knowledge and
I did
awareness,
share
yeah.
that for
Well,
sure, but.
And I do know that one of the things when I first approached him about this job, which unfortunately I didn't even think to ask, but was just a focus on mental health, and told him that was one of the things that we had decided to try and find ways we could plug into that community and help, because we felt like it was a huge need in the community, and he was in 100% agreement with that. Of course, then I had to, share my own why I'm passionate about mental health with him. But I certainly don't think he is what's the word I'm looking for, unaware of the magnitude of the problem. And so, yeah, and if I had done a better job as an interviewer, I would have thought
You
to
did great.
bring that out more because I do think it's critical. Yeah, so I don't know.
So how does this work? I mean, are we voting? Are we making a
Well,
motion?
this is technically a public meeting, and in order to make an appointment, which essentially is our recommendation to the commissioners that for them to approve or disapprove, is that yes, we do have to take a vote on our candidates. And I would suggest that the best way, well, I don't know, because it's sort of like a primary election. So I don't, how many of you, knowing what you know now, would feel like, so maybe we should all rank our choices initially? Would that be an idea to get where we need to be? I don't know. I would take suggestions from the group about how we want to, because ultimately we are going to have to take a vote on one candidate, but I guess I would like to get a feeling from the rest of you who are participating how you would rank the three candidates.
I think the position is going to be difficult in that the next health officer is following a very strong, excellent leader
Sure.
and physician who did an amazing job from my standpoint with during her tenure. So I think it's hard to follow
Yeah.
someone like that from a comparison standpoint. I think that we are blessed in that we have the two candidates that I know of are people of integrity and have a work ethic and a willingness to help with our community. Each of those are limited, as has been pointed out, or at least there are concerns, maybe a strong word, but there are considerations with each one. So with that being said, from my standpoint, to follow your recommendation, I would list them, Dr. McAdams, Dr. Turner, and Dr. Huggins. And I think Dr. Huggins simply because I feel like he's made it clear that this would not be a priority of his. So
Correct. All right. For many of the same reasons, I would rank the three candidates in that same order.
Same for me.
Okay.
Likewise.
Oh, I'm sorry. To me, I think Dr. Huggins has kind of taken himself out with his, comments about lack of time. And it's just kind of a flip of a coin for me between Dr. McAdams and Dr. Turner. I think the one thing I would encourage us to think about is what does the health officer job description say the duties and responsibilities are, and maybe that can help drive us to a decision as to
Okay.
which really is most important. And I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah,
Can you get that for us too?
I think I do somewhere in my files, but hang on, I'll see if I can,
Does Dr. McAdams live in Grant County now? I know he's practicing there, but is
does,
he currently
yes.
living? Okay.
Yeah, he lives on Candlewood, I believe, so in the condos, out north. Yeah, his parents live on 26th Street, west of the bypass. I think he spends a fair amount of time there just because of all of his outdoor activities.
And I don't know his personal life. Is he married, kids? Does he have time available?
He is not married, does not have kids. And I really feel like, the first conversation that I had with him was just how incredibly dedicated he is to medicine. I mean, it really is his passion. So I don't think he has a lot of distractions outside of his practice and his hobbies. He's made it very, very clear that he intends to be here for the long haul. Maybe not as health officer for the long haul, but he intends to be in Marion for the long haul. So, so we have. Okay.
Have to read this to them.
Yeah. Does anyone want to read aloud here?
Are you sending it to them or?
Oh, no, I can go back over there and email it.
That's okay. I don't, do you guys want to know about this position? What's on the job description?
I think maybe just as long as you guys all feel comfortable with it, like as far as like what the core responsibilities are, and if you feel confident he can meet him. I think it's great he's local. I think, his work with Bridges to Health is, that's typically a thankless job at a free clinic to be a volunteer. And you're going to see people who represent a lot of the demographic of our community. So I think those are things that have given him insights, outside of just being from the community. So I'm in support of what the majority of the board feels is appropriate. I'm just always going to bring up those things that maybe we don't always want to talk about.
Sure. No, I
Appreciate that from you, Sarah.
amen.
Sarah, I have your cell phone, so I did just send you pictures of the documents. I don't have Dr. Wilson's, but you do have.
I can do that for you, Dr. Wilson. Hang on.
Have you talked to Dr. Turner since his last email communication?
No, he was aware that we were having the meeting we had a week ago. I have not reached out to him this week.
I haven't heard from him either, so I didn't know. He had asked if it could just be a 1-year appointment, and I checked with David, and by Indiana code, it has to be 4 years.
Correct, yeah.
Now, I didn't point out you can quit yet,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard from him since then.
I did point out that you can quit, but you're not allowed to leave.
Okay.
So it's like Hotel California.
Yes.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
I talked to him and I told him it was not in any authoritative position. It was just conversation as I know him, and was asking some of the questions that I brought up before, which was, Is this are you doing this because you have an interest in it or because you know you are helping us out, type of thing?
I feel.
And so, basically what you said, I think he's a little, what am I getting myself into as I'm trying to do this other thing, which is what I wanted.
I felt like he was a little apprehensive about the time commitment,
Yeah.
which I appreciate.
Any clue as to how the commissioners are going to take any sort of recommendation from us? I know they had before, they were gung ho on Dr. Huggins, but if we come back with anything other than, is that going to be an obstacle?
I don't believe so with Mr. Middlesworth. I had a personal meeting with him about a month ago to discuss this situation, and he assured me that he believed that both he and Mr. Stewart would be on board with whatever we recommend. That's what I know.
That is my understanding as well.
Yes. So, yeah. And I think that at least those two didn't, of course, politics are not even on my radar most of the time, but it occurred to me that we probably would be wise to make our appointment before the election. I mean, just in case, because we have no idea what we might be dealing with, down the road. Of course, I also, in deference to Dr. Woods, would hope that we can get it done well before that as well. In fact, I'm hoping we can get it done today. So
This is actually your last opportunity before the primary to get
yes,
that.
so at any rate, I am ready. Have you both received the health officer job position, and do you want a few minutes to review that before we vote?
I
I've
have
looked
not
at it,
gotten
thank you.
But yeah, I'm okay to go ahead though.
Okay.
So somebody needs to make a motion, and somebody will need to second that.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we offer, or we'd recommend Dr. McAdams for this position.
Okay, so we have a
I'll
motion
second.
to, okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
All right. We will recommend the appointment of Dr. Matthew McAdams as our Grant County Health Officer.
We want to check with him and make sure he would accept the appointment first.
Well, we will make the offer of appointment to,
Okay.
and I will reach out to him post haste. And is it important that I do that before we adjourn?
No, just before I submit the recommendation to the commissioners, which I have to do by Wednesday.
Okay. Well, especially since it's all fresh in his mind, I will also, I'm just gonna right now send him the job description thing as well, just so he is making the most informed decision that he possibly can.
So it'll go to the commissioner. Well, would one of you like to come and present the recommendation to the commissioners at their meeting? Crickets.
Okay. All right. All right. So I will reach out to him yet this evening. I will email the group with his response and I will let you know ASAP. All right?
Thanks
Are we-
for all your work.
Oh, you're welcome. I am so glad to have this
Thank
over.
you.
I was completely out of options.
Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.
Okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you both for interrupting your evenings.
You safe?
Huge sigh of relief. Who should I tell first? Dr. Woods?
Why don't we make sure he's gonna
No, I
I
should.
was just thinking that same thing. Maybe
Someone-
after, yeah.